I want to talk about not in labeling, but in understanding that my energy type as a projector and knowing that I don't work the same as everybody else takes some getting used to. And I know if you don't know anything about human design, it's kind of confusing and a lot to take in. But the main thing to understand is that once you figure out your type, is trying to do your best to live in accordance to that. So human design, if you don't know, is kind of like the story of your life. It's like a blueprint. When you're looking at the chart, it's kind of like a blueprint or an outline story of how you can live your life. And of course you can live it in the, you know, shadow and the low side as they call it, or the light side and the highlight, high side of it, and be your best self, or get stuck in the negative and get stuck in the past and get stuck in all the shit that may have gone wrong in your life. Or you can do the work and follow your strategy and follow your authority and start to live the story that you're meant to live, the who you truly are, who you're really at the core meant to live life as. And for me, as an orchestrator, a projector, that means getting a lot more rest than I've given myself. I mean, I remember growing up that I took a lot of naps, and because I was tired so much. But I've been trying to work as someone who has this innate battery, and I don't have that. I don't have that energy. Roy can do perfectly fine with 3, 4, 5 hours of sleep. I can't. I can't function. I literally am so exhausted that I fall asleep. I could sleep anywhere, lay down on the ground and just pass out, go to sleep. And I could never figure out why. Well, if I'm trying to work as one type of person who has all this innate energy, and I'm not that type of person, and I can't function that way for very long, I can do it for a little while. Yeah, I can take that energy and I can bring it in and I can amplify it and I can be bunny, energizer bunny for a little while. I just can't sustain it. I cannot hold on to that and not completely wear myself out. So the past few days have been extremely exhausting for me. And I was just talking to a friend of mine and she was feeling the same way. She's also a projector. And even though I still don't quite understand the, I don't know how to explain this myself. So, in my understanding, projectors work with the energetic frequencies and kind of hold together the whole blueprint of what we've got going on around us. Or we work with those energies on a, I don't know, it's got to be a subconscious level because obviously thinking about it, I have no idea that I'm doing that stuff. There are some days when outside things are going on, political things or cultural things or whatever it is. I don't watch the news. I know what's going on, but I don't watch the news on a regular basis because it affects me in such an incredible way. And being empathic and, you know, learning, I mean, I've cut myself off for a long time because the energies that I was getting were just too much. And I kind of like built this wall around myself. But the more that I become aware of my ability to regulate that, to let in the things that I want to let in and not let in the things that I don't want to let in, limit my connection with toxic people or, you know, places that I'm not comfortable with. If I meet somebody and I don't get a good vibe, I don't hang out with them. It's just what I've done that for a long time, even before I found human design. But now, since learning more about human design, and I've only been doing this for 6 months, so this whole series here is kind of just me gonna talk about what I'm learning, talk about what I'm feeling. Um, that's another thing. I apparently I'm a self-projected projector, meaning that the best way for me to be able to use my strategy is for me to talk this stuff out. And for the longest time, I didn't talk. Like, I mean, I talked, but it was about just ridiculous stuff, trying to inject my thoughts and my ideas into the conversation. I was horrible about interrupting people and trying to, remember what I wanted to say before the conversation moved on and I didn't know what I wanted to say. I'd forget it. Now I'm being more intentional in what I say, taking the time to think about it. Menopause also had something play into that, but we can talk about that another time. Understanding that for me to get a feeling of how something feels to me, I pay attention to my gut anyway, but talking things out is another good way, is probably the best way for me to be able to know how I feel about something, the tone of my voice, the inflections. Am I excited? Am I not sure of what I'm saying? The different ways that you speak. Um, so all of these different aspects of who I am that I'm learning about, that I'm working with, that I'm experimenting with, they take some time and they take some repetition and remembering, okay, I've been living my story in a particular way and I don't want to live it like that anymore. I want to live it more in line with my true, authentic self. The person that I'm meant to be, the one who shares what she knows with the right people at the right time. Because in the past, I've tried to shove my opinions and my thoughts and my what I believe to be the best path for someone down their throat. And of course, that doesn't work. Well, I can see what other people miss, but sharing it with them is not always, people don't always want to hear what they need to hear. They want to hear what they want to hear. So if you're telling someone something and they're not energetically connected and feeling like, yes, this is the right thing for me, then they're not going to listen to you. Learning that, holy cow, has made a big difference. It's hard to bite my tongue. So hard, especially with my kids, because there's so many things that I'm like, oh my God, I know what the answer is. I know what you should be doing, but I can't say anything. I can offer, do you want my suggestion? Do you want to hear what I'm thinking? And if they say no, then I got to be okay with that. It's not easy. It's not easy. But what's really cool is knowing that I can rewrite the story of my life story, and have it be something that is more in line with who I truly am and not have it be like anybody else. I don't have to work like everybody else. I don't have to, you know, be like a amped up Energizer bunny. I don't need to do that. And it's okay. If I want to take an afternoon nap, I go take an afternoon nap. And if I sleep for 3 hours and then I wake up and have some dinner and go straight back to bed, then that's what I'm doing. I've been working in such a way for the past 50 years that my body needs to catch up on the sleep that I should have been taking like years ago. I shouldn't have been trying to push myself and work the way that somebody else expected me to work. And like a friend of mine says, we've done it their way. We've tried it their way. Now we're going to try it our way. And our way may not be what most people expect, but that's fine. That's fine. And I know that there are going to be people out there who are like, oh, and I get this a lot in my head because when I was younger, I was called lazy, or, you know, I didn't have the energy to do the things that I needed to do, and just didn't focus, didn't push myself, you know, didn't have the willpower. Well, no, I don't have a defined will. It doesn't mean I don't have the willpower. It doesn't mean I don't get things done that I want to get done. It just means that I do them in my own pace, at my own pace, in my own way. And it doesn't mean that it's any worse than the way somebody else does it. It's just that it's my way. And being okay with that and being comfortable with that takes some work. When you're working on changing your story, when you're working on becoming a better version of yourself, you're going to get people who see things in a different way. They think they know what's best for you. And it's not that they're trying to be mean. Some people are trying to be controlling, but most people want to see the best. They want you to succeed. They want to see the best in you. They think they know what's best for you. But having the strength to step out on your own, to start doing things in a way that feels more congruent with who you really are and how you really should be stepping up in the world is all up to you. It's not up to anybody else. Part of the reason why I want to share this is because if you are a projector, if you are someone who is one of the few that doesn't have all of this just innate battery to move and hustle, that hustle culture is, even for generators and manifesting generators who have that innate battery, that energy to work like that, it's still not good for them. You still have to take a break. You still have to rest. You still have to take time to come back to yourself. If you're not doing that, then you are going to wear yourself out. You are going to wipe yourself out one way or another. Your body is going to rebel. It will find a way to let you know that you need to change what you're doing. Thankfully, I pay attention to my body, and I know, like, I've woken up the past couple of days being dizzy. And for me, that means that if I don't take care of myself and start taking some echinacea and start, drinking some more teas, um, doing the healing things that I need to do, I'm going to end up with a cold because this drop in weather just kind of totally threw us for a loop. I'm going to start doing a lot more of these type of videos for you, but as well more for me, because talking this stuff out is what I need to be doing. So I figure, what the heck, why not share it? Maybe there's somebody out there who can learn something about themselves being a projector as well. I know there are not that many of us, but that doesn't mean that, and even if you're not a projector and you're another type, or you're somebody else who's, tired of doing things the way that society has demanded that we do things, it's okay for you to change things up. I know people freak out about 2020 and they're like, oh my God, it was the worst time. I think it was the greatest time. If we look back and we look at how people have shifted their mentality around work and rest, we can see that a lot of people realized what was truly important. And it wasn't working 60-hour weeks. It was spending time with family, spending time with people who love you. If you're working constantly and you don't have time to spend time with those that you love, the whole reason that you're working so hard is because you want to make things better for themselves and make for yourselves and for them. But if you're not able to spend time with them, then what's the point? what's the point if you can't enjoy your life? So sometimes letting go of, you know, the fancy house and the fancy cars and spending more quality time with your family and the people that you love and that you care about, and or maybe if you don't have a family, spending more time doing things that you really love that light you up inside. If your job lights you up and makes you happy and you're like, yes, I love doing this stuff, completely different. But still, do you have hobbies or other things that you enjoy doing? Totally went off topic of what I was talking about, but who cares? Whatever. That's just the way these are going to go. They're going to be all over the place. So if you want to hang out and listen to them, awesome. If not, they're here for me. So whatever. Um, but yeah, been sleeping a lot and probably will do so more. So anyway, later.